I just wanted to say one thing I just thought about when you were saying reference track, because Steve, there is a violin or a viola in some piece of music that I don't know what song it is or what album it is. I'm actually not even sure what group it is, but in this sort of Robert/Crafty zeitgeist, there is a solo violin or a solo viola on something. It's quite tender, it's a little slow, it's very beautiful.
The Moving Force.
The Moving Force, yeah.
Kathy Stevens, who's a bandmate of Markus's.
That was something that I had heard also before, like when I was growing up, that was something I heard. And I heard Asturias a lot when I was growing up as well. And so, but in terms of references for solo string instruments or anything like that, sort of integrating with what was going on, the Moving Force was very helpful to me to listen to more closely.
Yeah, there's an interesting point here that occurred to me, like guitar craft and the tuning on those guitars, the acoustic guitars, is very much not a traditional sound. It is something that is very new, kind of like was born in the mid-80s, and really through the repertoire, like Scaling the Whales, kind of like became a sound. And it's always been kind of like difficult, like from my perspective, to make that sound like work in a more traditional context, like what people were expecting things to sound like. This sounds good, this sounds bad, you know, that people are like that, right? So combining that composition with that sonic quality that's so new and so different, with like the traditional instruments, with, you know, the warmth of a violin and cello, and then like with the round fat tone of the vibraphone, like that, there's like a depth and history and tradition to those instruments that is so much older, right, than the sound of the guitar tuned in open C. And it's kind of like a, I think just because of that, it's such an interesting project to see, like how can these different worlds, how can these traditions be mixed, and how can like the sound of a piece like Scaling the Whales be brought into the, like, deeper into other musical traditions. That's kind of like, I see it more like that than the other way around. It's not, you know, it's not like there is like the guitarcraft tradition, there's this kind of composition, and then we bring some other guests in. I think it's the other way around. It like the Scaling the Whales is the guest somehow. That's kind of like how I experience it.
There is something. Can I jump in? I have one burning question that I've had this whole time, and so Nora, you were asking questions to Dolette, and like I have an idea how most people are doing here, and there were the rhythm tracks. Things kept getting added, and then somehow in the process, like there's all these great musicians, beautiful things, and then suddenly Tony, Levin, and Dolette drop in on this project, and it goes from being just like really good musicians doing something to like, hey, there's a couple legends in the room. How the hell did they get there? So my one question that I haven't, like, I figured out pretty much how everybody else fits into this. Dolette, how did you get here? How did you do that? And before I'll do that, I'll just say that I appreciated your answer to Nora, where you said that your first reaction was fear, because if you're still afraid of projects like this, it gives hope to the rest of us. So, so if you could, you just give us the quick like snapshot of how you got in here?
Steve like slid into my DMs on one of the social media thing, one of my pages, and then we exchanged information and we had a chat, and he explained it. He explained the project. I still didn't know what he was talking about, and I said I need to hear it because I don't read music. Everything is for me. I have to feel it. I have to, you know. And when he sent it to me, I mean, I felt it all the way in my bones. And, you know, some people see music in colors, some people, you know, and everyone has a different way. But when I heard this track, the way I can describe it is that I felt like an elastic band was around my head. And that's when I knew that it was something that I needed to do. And so, you know, it all
was that an enjoyable sensation for you?
Oh, or? Absolutely. It's a sensation that I have had my whole life. When something touched me deep inside, it's that when I get that rubber band feeling, that elastic, I know for me, at least just for me, it's the shit.